friends, it's Carly and I am back again with another review. So I put the poll out today and I ultimately made the decision at about 6 o'clock tonight. There were two action figures that were tied for what you guys wanted to see me review today, and I had to make a decision. So let me tell you about how I came to that decision. I don't want anybody to be upset, but just know that tons of reviews are incoming. I'm gonna do as many as I absolutely can, so we'll get to absolutely everything on the list, I promise, and it won't take long. But I ultimately decided to go with the Catwoman figure today because I have now Rogue and Cyclops in hand. I'm excited to look at these figures, but when I do my BAF action figures, I always really like to do them all in a row, and typically I'm ordering the entire set from BBTS and then doing them all and finishing with the BAF. I do them like 7 days in a row or 8 days in a row, and I just like that format because it just keeps me on track. I get to learn more and more about the characters as I go. It keeps the content sort of tight and linear, and it just makes more sense to me. And you know, for those of you who watch my channel, you know that I was not impressed with the first line of AOA figures, and they were beloved by the fans. So this time I'm interested to see what I think. I know that the fans are still really loving them, but I've had a really unique opportunity to come across some comic books at Fanboys Marketplace. I told you guys that I'm doing videos for them. Please make sure that you're subscribed to their channel to see my videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. I've got one coming up tomorrow about my CBCS graded Spider-Man comic, which is the love of my life right now. But I'm shopping there all the time and finding cool toys, and I just found this run of Astonishing X-Men comics that include all of the characters that are in this BAF series. So I'm gonna read these. Remember, in my first series of AOA reviews, I was not able to come across the original comics. They are out of print and incredibly difficult to come across. So I only got to read like a portion of the first volume. I like to be educated. I sort of read up on the story, but getting to read the actual comics is way better. So at least I'll have a little bit more context. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and order the rest of the figures in a clutch. So I had ordered the entire box, found these, got really hopeful, canceled my order, and realized that all that's out here is Rogue and Cyclops. So I'm gonna go ahead and order the rest of the figures. BBTS is fast for me. It usually only takes like 3 or 4 days. So once I get those figures, I will do 8 days in a row of reviews, all of these figures and Colossus at the end. So that was my thought process. I did get a lot of votes for Catwoman, and I'm just so itching for the Batman content that I couldn't wait. And so I decided that's what we're gonna look at today. I hope you guys love it. Let's take a look at our new Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz. So right off the bat, haha, pun intended, I was really impressed with the sculpt and the body on this figure. If you will recall, when I looked at the Wonder Woman figures, there was always something off about the body. For me, I talked a lot about the hot doggy legs. That became a thing that I couldn't stop saying, and she had these weird shapeless legs. The body was so strange. The facial sculpts looked good, but it was just almost like whoever did it had never seen a human body before, or a cartoon of Wonder Woman, or Gal Gadot, for goodness sake. It was just, they were so bizarre. This really reads well to me. The body is, you know, it looks like Zoe Kravitz in costume from what I've seen of all the promotional material. It has correct proportions that make sense, and it looks pretty good to me. The only accessory that this comes with is this whip, and I have it in hand like this so you can see it really is a pretty strange accessory. It does not sit in the hand very well. I'm gonna take it out. It's very loose. It sort of flip-flaps around, and the way that it's sculpted is funny. I'm wondering if that has something to do with the Riddler. That's a long shot. You know, that's Probably not, but it's just a weird shape. I know it's supposed to be sort of in motion, but it doesn't work for me. And this is the part that she's supposed to hold in her hand. It almost looked for a moment like it was supposed to be a tail that stuck into the back of her costume. And I was like, what the? And, you know, of course I know she has a whip, but this is a weird accessory. I'm never going to use it. I don't like it. So I feel that because the accessory is off, it doesn't sit in her gripping hand the way that it ought to. I wish that she had different hands. I wish that she had cat hands, because she has a fist and this whip hand that doesn't hold the whip very well. So I wish she had different hands. And while the paintwork, you know, McFarlane for me never really misses on paint. So the eyes are gorgeous. That being really the only detail on the figure. I really wish that we would have had a second head for this figure too. Zoe Kravitz is beautiful. She is shown without her mask consistently in the promotional material. I think it would have been fun for someone to paint her face, and I just wish we could have seen that. That has been something that has bothered me in the McFarlane figures for a while now, especially with the overwhelming amount of Batman content that we get from them, or Batman pieces. I want alternate parts. I want extra hands. I want accessories. I want heads. I want different parts and pieces to mix and match, especially if you're a huge Batman fan and you're collecting all of these Batman figures. Just imagine what you could do if each one came with an additional head. I mean, I think they're really missing an opportunity by not doing that. I do appreciate the consistency of their pricing when we're seeing a lot of fluctuation in Marvel and a lot of things that make me a little bit uncomfortable with, you know, sort of the finance aspect of Marvel Legends right now. So I appreciate the consistency that McFarlane brings us in pricing, but at some point I've just got to see more. I've got to see more than Batman, and I've got to see more accessories. That's just my opinion, and I feel like that's really sort of screaming at me with this figure. So that was a little bit of negative stuff. Let's get to the good stuff, which for me with McFarlane is always the articulation. Now, I do think it's worth noting that the texture on this suit is really, really beautiful. I think they did a lot with color and texture and created some real depth and sort of a night, an inky nighttime look to the figure. So I think that's a success. I think it looks good. It looks like leather. It looks like something that can be worn actively. And it looks like a cat suit. She looks really, really good. So I appreciate that. Going into articulation, you know, with her head, of course, I'm going to say something negative again, but we're going to get to the good stuff. She doesn't nod, guys, which is unfortunate. While I can move her head up and down, she doesn't hold those positions. So this is the amount of movement that you get. Not good for me. But, you know, we get a 360 turn if you need to do that. You can probably get some pretty good. It needs to be side to side, you know, it needs to do a full swivel. It's a cat-like character. We need to be able to like cock to the side. There are all kinds of expressions and poses that you just can't reach if you don't have a full range of motion in the neck. So they really missed another opportunity there. All of the negativity aside now, everything else on this figure is precisely how it should be. Now just imagine this with the right hands. That's a beautiful pose. If you collect McFarlane figures, you might be able to find hands, or even in your Marvel Legends set, you might be able to pop these off and switch them out. I think I'm gonna try to if I can, because the range of motion on every other part of this action figure is absolutely stunning and smooth and easy. She's got every, you know, we've got the turn in the bicep, we've got the bend in the elbow here, we've got an easily turning wrist, a hand that goes down and up. Again, imagine that with a cat hand, it would be stunning. We've got the 360 in the shoulder. So great motion there. She even has a bit of an ab crunch, not anything outrageous, but I don't believe the Wonder Woman figures even had that. Now, I don't have the one with the crown that's out right now. Let me know if you guys want me to take a look at that one, because I do think it looks really cool, and it did just get a redeco. So I'd be willing to take a look at that. I've seen it in my local stores. Let me know in the comments if you want to see it. So she does have an ab crunch. We have a nice twist in the waist. This little belt can't be removed, but it doesn't seem to obstruct anything, so I'm okay with that. Also, the turn in the waist is, you know, what they do on action figures to get that small waist, so it's really the upper torso, but it works really well with this figure. She's got a great lateral split. It's perfect all the way out the way that it should be. We are missing a turn in the thigh, but we have a full range of motion in the knees, ankles, and then obviously the toe that we love to see. So overall, she has these great rounded like ball ankle joints that you can just get movement in every possible direction out of. Overall, I'm really, really happy with the articulation. The thigh, I feel like needs to turn. But we're used to seeing that with female action figures that we just seem to get a little bit less. I don't feel like that's usually the case with McFarlane, but again, I have more Batman and Joker figures than any female figures of his. So let me know if that's something that, like Marvel Legends, if they just missed the boat on you know, thigh turns and waist turns. There is literally no reason that she couldn't turn at a normal waist height. But again, that isn't affecting very much for me. So, you know, you just get used to it and move on. But overall, you guys, I think this is a really nice looking figure. I hate to think that they're giving us less here because they want to continue with the path of giving us more and more variants of Batman figures and Batman characters, but I kind of get that idea that we might get an unmasked version of this character after the movie comes out and the big reveals happen, whatever the mysteries of the movie are revealed. I think we'll get a whole new series of them. And I love that for this movie especially, but what I don't love is feeling like they didn't do as much as they could have on this figure because they're holding out for more in the future. I really feel like they should do the best possible work they can with every single figure, and I think with the sculpt and the limited paint work on this particular girl, they did, but the articulation needs to be better. I feel like it needs to not just be standard that this is what we do on female figures. It needs to be, this is a cat character and this is the type of range of motion that she needs to have. They have the capability of doing it, and so they really should have gone all out with her. That said, I think you can get some really, really good poses out of her. And again, I'm really impressed with the overall appearance and texture used to give this character depth and just make her sort of a beautiful rendition of her actual, the performer who plays her. So I have disappointments with this figure, but I'm going to put it on my shelf, and I'm still very, very excited and hopeful about what we're going to see with the other characters. I'm keeping my eyes peeled every single day for a Pattinson, that Penguin I cannot wait to lay hands on. And if we do get more, hopefully they're hearing my thoughts on this and will give us an unmasked face, an additional head. It would have been great to get that in this package and then maybe see her out of costume in another outfit for the next release, but we'll just have to wait and see. I think that there's nowhere to go but up, and this is already a pretty good figure to start with, so I think we can expect some really great things coming down the line. Thank you guys so much for watching my review. Let me know what you think of this character, what you think of this action figure. Of course, it comes with the usual cool collector card and stand. I do love the collector cards. I keep all of them, so that's pretty neat. Let me know what you guys think of what McFarlane's doing with the Batman figures these days. I feel like it's much ado kind of about nothing. I love seeing the different designs, but I'd kind of like to see them branch out a bit more. It was really exciting when the Suicide Squad characters came out, but I still have never seen one other than Peacemaker in the store. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to give this like a solid 7 out of 10. I have seen way worse figures. All of the Wonder Woman figures were worse for me, and I'm very optimistic about what we have coming forward in the future, and I'm pleased to put this girl on my shelf. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will be back very soon with another one. We're going to read these comics and look at these X-Men figures and keep you guys up to date on everything that I've got coming up. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye, friends.